Greetings, unsettled souls. No, well, look, my entire stereo just died, but that's okay because I really wanted to be in the studio today. But because people refuse to do things the way that I want to do, which, of course, is to say the right way, then I always end up getting roped into doing it other people's way. And of course, I have viewers today, so that's great. We are doing the 12 days of Trump. There are two rules here. Rule number one, if I say that it is true, don't question it under any circumstances, because if you do, I'm going to call you dumb. Second of all, share the video because it is the 12 days of Trump. And in the 12 days of Trump, I'm going to prove to you why I am right and how I am right in every way. So that's important to know. What we're going to talk about is why Trump wants to keep a lot of the problems that we see in the EU far, far away from the United States. And we're going to touch on that in sort of a meaningful way here, a way that actually matters. Trump has been saying that if we continue down the path that we are on, then what's going to happen is we're going to find that the more radical forms of Islam slowly start to bring their belief system into into ours, I should say, and they are going to make us capitulate and do things their way. In other words, according to Islam, as is commonly defined, there is no us assimilating to the West, even when they move here. There is no we will live together. Among certain forms of Islam, there is only we will move to your country and your country will do what it is that we tell them to do. That is what Trump is saying. It's nothing about hating religion. It's acknowledging that a certain people of one religion, in this case Islam, hate us, not the other way around. So with that in mind, in our 12 days of Trump here, we're going to address it on Breitbart. 5 men gang rape women during Calais camp clearance. Now we know that they said they were going to come in and they were going to get rid of all the problems here and everything. Well, let's take a good look at it, okay? Shall we? Let's take a real good look at what it is that they managed to do when they cleared out this camp of radicals. By that I mean violent Islam, radical, fascist, Islamic terrorists. If that offends you, then you're a terrorist. You're not a Muslim. If you're a Muslim, you probably agree with me. A young woman was gang raped by 5 men amid the destruction of Calais jungle camp, French prosecutors revealed. The Ethiopian was attacked on Tuesday, according to volunteers who on Tuesday with police were clearing the Calais slum in preparation for the attempt to resettle the inhabitants in France. Now let me be clear here. They moved out the jungle of violent extremists in order to relocate them to France. Now, clearly, this camp has not been properly vetted, unless you happen to think that France is asking for rapists. Since I think that that is probably not the case, then I am more inclined to believe that we have some serious issues here regarding what it is that is considered proper vetting. And if you don't know why that is, then you're probably part of the problem. I'm going to go back to screen share here so that you guys can see it. Because if I don't show it to you, it's so stupid, you're probably not going to be able to believe it. It's real. The victim has been examined by a forensic doctor, but he had difficulty in communicating the details of the attack, as she was only to speak an Ethiopian dialect. A source told reporters that the woman will stay in Calais until a translator is found. Now, let's pause. Do you mean to tell me that these stupid SOBs, the law enforcement of Calais, does not have internet access? Because if they did, are they too stupid to be able to understand that you do not need a translator? How can I prove this to you? Okay. Do I speak German? No. So I'm going to type this in on screen. You guys are watching what I'm typing here on screen. Here we go. Let me make sure I'm on screen share. Okay, good, I am. All right, you saw what I typed in there. I typed in a German translator, free online. Okay, now I've got to find my damn tab again. All right, you saw what I typed in. Okay, let's follow this through now. You then click on the translator. I could have put in Ethiopian as well. You type in, I was raped by Habib. And then you type in translate. Ich werde vergewaltigt von Habib. There it is. If you want to hear it,
Ich wurde vergewaltigt von Habib.
It will tell you how to say it. Therefore, when they say that they are looking for a translator in order to be able to verify her story, they are freaking lying. L-I-E. The great freaking lie. It is as easy as I just told you. And the only thing they're doing is allowing the criminals to get away so that they can never properly prosecute them and say that they didn't have a translator. I just showed you. A source told reporters that the woman will stay in Calais until a translator can be found. You do not need a translator, you freaking idiot. I swear to God, how in the world can anybody possibly argue with what Donald Trump is saying? What, you want this kind of stupidity brought into our country with a bunch of unvetted rapists moving in? What the hell is wrong with you? Thomson Reuters recently reported that female migrants who had been moved from Calais to makeshift migrant camps in the French countryside feared that the clearing of the jungle would lead to an increased number of rapes. So what, you cleaned out the jungle without ever taking the time to figure out whether or not it was a way to do it, without knowing if somebody got raped? How the hell do you clean out an area and find out later on, oh, well, you know, we were in there, but we didn't have time to see that somebody happened to be bent over a table by 5 people? I refuse to believe that. This is something that is being done on purpose. And if you don't believe that, then you tell me how they don't know that the internet has free translators online, like I just showed you. You tell me how they don't know that there are ways to vet this prior to allowing it to come into other countries. Blatant propaganda. This is the last of your 12 days of Trump update. I'm so mad I can barely speak. The largest speaking Spanish language network in the U.S. said that voter fraud has never existed. Never? As in like never, never, never? Because if you mean never, then what you mean is that America has been flawless. Absolutely flawless. And that nobody has ever committed voter fraud here. Because Americans are right always, and never are they mistaken. Is that what they need? Because I bet that's not what they meant when Al Gore lost. And Governor Bush clearly threw it in the way of his brother. I'm pretty sure that that's not what's been said during every major voter contention issue that has happened on the left. But they want to say now that there's voter fraud as a fake. When they were claiming voter fraud, it was all real. But now that those of us who actually have a brain in our head have noticed it, now it must be fraud. Listen to this. Blatant propaganda. Check out this video from the Univision of biggest South Spanish American news station, Univision. It is perhaps the most egregious sample of propaganda that one can come across, and I'll play it at the end here for everyone. The report claims that there is no evidence that voter fraud in the U.S. has ever existed or currently exists, and enterprises clips of Donald Trump saying that the election could be rigged. Well, could be rigged. Have you guys seen the voter machines that were clicked on one and flipped over to the other? Because if you haven't, leave me a comment and I'll be happy to send it to you. It's on a guy's phone, so it doesn't matter who he was voting for. Either his phone was lying and he's a programming genius who was able to hack the phone, or he's telling the truth. It's easier for me to believe he was telling the truth. Well, it says that notes that Trump's warnings about voter fraud are a sample of how political debate has deteriorated. Oh, really? It's deteriorated to be able to look back and see that voter fraud is real. Is that what they're saying? It says an accompanying article, The Myth of Fraud and Other Strategies to Limit the Minority Vote. It's by the Univision's Jenny Menuik. Also argues that no fraud has ever, as in never, because we are perfect, existed, and that voting by non-citizens and other significant voters' irregularities do not exist. Well, let me tell you how they exist, and I will invite you to tell me how I am wrong. In many places, you show your ID. Your ID is what allows you to vote. Now, if you're an illegal immigrant, in many cities, you are allowed to get an ID. If that city happens to be in the state that uses voter ID as proof, and it also happens to be legal to drive there, then the illegal immigrant has a legal right to vote due to a loophole. And if I'm wrong on that, feel free to challenge me, but I'm in Ohio, and I know for sure I've only ever been asked for my ID. Usually I only need to give my name, so please don't question me on this because I'll be happy to prove you wrong. The report is clearly, it says, aimed at Hispanic Americans, a huge demographic, to encourage them to vote for Hillary Clinton. The only problem is, and they're going to swear here and I'm going to do it with it, it's pure horse shit. There is masses of evidence of past voting irregularities, with some findings estimating that there are over 4 million ineligible and dead voters in the U.S. on the voter polls. In addition, a major 2012 Pew Charitable Trust report, linked right there, found that approximately 2.75 million people have active registrations in more than one state. That means a vote in Ohio, vote in California, vote Democrat, vote often. That's what it means. The report noted that America's voting registration needs an update, finding 1 of every 8 active registered voter registrations are invalid or significantly inaccurate. The report also found that an estimated 1.8 million people have died and are still active on the voting lists. Donald Trump talked about this, how a lifelong Republican suddenly votes Democrat after they die. A further 2014 Old Dominion University study for another source, that's 4 now, found that 6 years ago, 25% of non-citizen population was registered to vote, including illegal and unauthorized residents of the U.S. In other words, you can be legal to be in the country, but through loopholes, you get to vote anyway. It's right there, friends. It's right in front of you. I've given you the article, I've given you the sources, and I've given you the facts. I'm doing this 12 days in a row, the 12 days of Trump. I've got listeners. I see you there. Before you log off, I see you. I see you right there, and I thank you for tuning in. Do me a favor. Hit share, because you got these facts, but other people didn't. Hit share. Hit subscribe. Let other people know, because, friends, if you don't, we're going to lose this freaking election. Do you understand that? We're going to get Hillary Clinton in office if you don't help me. I can do a show, but I can't make sure it's everywhere. That is your job. Thank you. And if you want to help me do mine, you can do so at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com. Donate through PayPal. I'd appreciate it, and I'll use the money for the show. Good night, friends. God bless. 12 days of Trump. Day number 2. Done.